Well, hello. Welcome to another fabulous Chubs Gone Wild. This is episode 483, recorded on February 27th, 2023, where it is 45 degrees and rainy as all get out. And there's
Yeah,
also a wind advisory.
well, the wind advisory is pretty much over. It's when I went out in it, I just walked to the car and I
Yeah.
was drenched.
Yeah.
And it's
Wow.
not like it's pouring. It's that medium rain that just it comes down really steady.
Hmm.
And I mean, quite literally walking to the car, walking back to the car, my shirt was wet. Like all the exposed shoulders, arms, wet.
And that was from rain, not just
Yes.
sweat of getting out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
sweat that badly just walking to the car.
Uh,
Unless I'm
well,
like at a mall looking for my car, then yeah,
don't
it's
judge me now. So, all right, it is 21 days till Ostara, which is the first day of spring. It is also 41 days till Christian Easter, 246 days till Halloween, and 301 days until Christmas. So we're almost down under the 300 mark. Yay. Patreon. What?
Somebody's not listening and they're going, "Oh my God, they're both under 300 now or close to being under 300."
Oh
No,
yeah, right. Yeah. Not quite, dear.
it's something
Um,
different.
oh,
Christmas.
so well, okay. I'll save that till my week. Okay. Uh, making a note. There we go. All right. Oh wait, put that in the wrong one. There we go. All righty, Roo. Here we go. Patreon offers folks a way to support creators and receive rewards not open to the general public, like special podcasts, videos, books, and more. And we want to thank our amazing current patrons, Clint, Nephi, Nick, DJ, Sausage from the Universe, Eric, Sean, Charles, Brother Sinatus, Phoenix Dave, Kingsley, and Moose P. Please visit patreon.com/ Matt Burlingame and find out how you can get all this fabulous stuff and so much more for just as little as $1 a month. And okay, well, it's time to move on to some history and some holidays. Well, on February 27th, 1827, that is almost 200 years ago, which is really bizarre to think about. A group of masked and costumed students danced through the streets of New Orleans or Nolans, depending if you're native,
NOLA,
Louisiana. What's that?
NOLA.
Okay.
That's
No.
what they call it. NOLA.
Oh, really? Natives call it NOLA? I just heard NOLA.
NOLA.
Okay. Kind of like NorCal.
Kinda.
Okay. Marking the beginning of the city's famous Mardi Gras celebrations, the celebration of Carnival, or the weeks between 12th night on January 6th and Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the Christian period of Lent, spread from Rome across Europe and later to the Americas like a plague. Anyway, so there's a little bit of history for you.
So what are you giving up for Lent?
Religion. Oh wait, that was a long time ago. Nothing,
Lent of
because
2 years
I don't
ago.
have to give up things to prove that I am. Well, I don't know what the fuck are they trying to prove. I love you, Jesus. I'm giving up chocolate. Jesus don't care if you give up chocolate. Jesus just wants you to go donate to a homeless charity or be nice to somebody or you know, not be a
Yeah,
dick.
it's like on my paranormal videos when they go, "Who are we speaking to?" And the thing goes, "Satan." And I'm like, "Oh, really? Satan had nothing better to do than hang out with you idiots in this old warehouse?" No, no, it's not
Right.
Satan. I
Exactly.
mean, I would totally call him on that. by the way, that's a good one.
Yeah,
It's Satan. Sure, it is. Sure, yeah,
right.
Satan. Wow, you didn't have thing better? Come on, we've got Republicans out there that could use your help.
Yeah, probably are.
Oh, that's true.
Praying to him right now. Yeah, no, that's true. Let's see. Today's affirmation, deep breath in, feeling an impending delivery. My family totally supports me in fulfilling my dreams, and I am so grateful.
Can we do our breath out?
Oh yes, yes. And out.
Okay.
Um, yeah, well, my mom does. And frankly, at this point, and I do have one cousin that I claim. So yeah, but other than that, my family is, well, I don't want to say dead because they're not dead, but oh, they don't contact me. I don't contact them.
That's called dead to you.
I
They
saw
may
that
not be dead, but they're dead to me.
show. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Holidays. Oh, that's right. We've got some holidays coming up.
All day.
Celebrate. Um, let's see.
Hey,
Did
did you
you
know that Rudolph
celebrate
the Red-Nosed Reindeer was one of the top 10 albums on the pop charts over Christmas?
this year?
Yes. Yeah,
No.
it was number
Was it
4.
Corey Hart's version?
No,
Oh, original.
it was the TV album with Burl Ives of Rudolph the
Wow.
Red-Nosed Reindeer, number 4 on the pop charts.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Huh. That is
And
very
that was pop album charts, not like adult contemporary or
yeah.
boomers that don't have anything better to do. No, this was it was so weird because Mariah Carey, her song
Got
was number
yeah.
one on the
That's
pop
probably why she
charts,
wanted to try to she
become the
wanted
queen of Christmas.
well, yeah. I mean, she basically wanted to buy the trademark of Christmas so that, probably so that she could put down all the others that were trying to, outdo
Well,
her.
stop those other albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like Taylor Swift, who was the first artist to actually have all top 10 songs at the same time.
Well, the thing is that in the digital age,
Hmm.
because and by the way, she had like the top 12 out of the top 15, which was even weird.
Wow. It's
Yeah, it was
even
like every
more.
song on the album is in the top 15. And what happens is that people, the kids, they go in and buy stuff, they buy it digitally. So they pay much more for the album than if you just bought the album
Yeah.
because they want to support Taylor and give her all these records. It's like
Well, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. I mean, if the digital age had happened, when Corey was first popular, I mean, probably would have done the same thing for his albums. I mean, there would have
well, unless his album happened to come out the same, time as, let's say, Staying Alive or Physical, and something else would come in and ruin it for him. But I understand what you're saying,
been, yeah.
because I mean, remember when the Black Eyed Peas had "I'm gonna do all right, it's gonna be a good night,"
That's gonna
um,
be
and
good.
then they had one other song, and I can't remember what it is right now, but
My
they had two.
humps, my
No,
lumps.
no, 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 no. I love
No.
that. No, the two songs off the same album were on the pop charts, number one on the pop charts for over half a year.
Oh. I didn't. I know that there was some Madonna and some Michael Jackson songs and stuff that did that type of thing. I mean, they weren't always in the top 10, but they were
Right.
on the charts for like 6 months or more.
Sure,
That
sure.
was what just, but
But I mean the Black Eyed Peas. I mean, if you're number one on the charts, you have one song, and as soon as that one goes down to number two, your other song goes to number one. I mean,
yeah,
that's insane, and it's for almost it's over half a year. That's
yeah,
a long time.
it
Because I
really
remember,
is.
Michael Jackson songs would roll around in once they got out of the top 20, they'd be rolling around the charts probably for a whole year.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, Billie Jean's popular again.
Right.
It's Halloween, so here comes Thriller.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's see about some holidays here. Did you celebrate Polar Bear Day?
Uh, well, did you know that it's singular now? It used to be Polar Bears Day, but since there's only one left, it's just Polar Bear Day.
Oh my gosh, is there seriously only one left? Okay. See, you just don't, yeah.
Yeah,
In these days, I honestly would just believe it. I mean, who
I
knows?
know.
Anyway, so polar bear, yes.
Well, they said that the reason why um, the Republicans never came over for climate change was because who gives a fuck about polar bears?
I have heard that.
No, it's absolutely true. They said, what they should have done is said, your kids are going to grow up without trees
Mm,
and or without like a zoo to go to because they're all going to be dead.
yeah.
And maybe that might have made a difference because I always found that GOP people come over when you talk about their grandchildren,
Mm,
but that's you. I mean, not even their own kids, their grandkids,
yeah.
their legacies is what they are more.
Yeah.
They're
And they
more
can
prone
say
to.
my
They're more
grandfather
prone
was
to
one of the
deal with.
people that killed everything, and that's why I don't have a nice life. And then maybe they'll, yeah. Anyway, it's also National Kahlua Day.
I like that, but I have not.
Yeah, I haven't had Kahlua in a long time.
I see some on my bar though.
Oh, well, there you go. You can celebrate. It's National Protein Day. No. Okay. Natural Retro Day. Look at some of the things on your walls. It is very retro.
Oh yeah, I'm very retro.
Yeah, I got some retro in the other room. National Strawberry Day.
Oh, come on, leave your mom alone.
That's not very nice. I don't know why you would say something like that.
I thought that's what you meant.
No, I got a very sweet gift of a record player.
So I'm supposed to know this.
Yeah, if you kept up with me. Anyway, but yeah, I absolutely love it. I forgot how much I love listening to vinyl. So,
I do.
well, I'll just take all your old vinyl
Okay. You can go retrieve those at some store that I took them to 20 years ago.
then. Oh, no, but I do love vinyl. I have, of course, I have a whole bunch of Corey stuff, and it's really fun to just play. So, anyway, also Strawberry Days. Have not done that today. No Brainer Day. That was me when I
Oh,
woke
there you
up.
go. We
Uh,
fulfilled.
yeah. Pokemon Day. Nope. Don't play. World NGO Day. No, I guess not. And also on this day in history. I don't understand that one. It's like every time we have holidays, it's the same holiday over and over every day. On this day in history. So weird. All right. Next up, we do have a few birthdays. I'm so excited. I love the birthday segment so much because in 2 more days, you know,
Nephi turns 50.
no, that
No.
is okay. The poor guy probably just shit himself listening to this.
I thought we can't talk about that. Oh,
No, but no, that's April. But we have
oh, okay.
a very special bacon birthday coming up in just a few days here.
Oh, we're allowed to talk about it now, Mr. Strict on the rules.
Oh, strict on the rules. I don't know. But also, oh, we've already done those ones. Okay. Upcoming birthdays. Happy birthday to Marshall and Rachel and Lisa and Anne Marie. That's our mouse from the theater. John, Danielle, Marilyn. Oh, Marilyn was also one of our little helpers at the theater. We've got Joseph. Oh, Joseph was one of our actors. You remember Joe?
I
And
do, and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
yeah, and he's actually Yeah, I get it, but wow. Uh, old reference. Um, but he's in a new show,
I
actually.
know.
Yeah,
I always liked Joseph.
I know, I did too.
What did
On
he
top of the
date?
fact he
He
was so
dated somebody.
adorable.
He dated somebody that was, if I remember right, they were cute, but they didn't deserve him.
I don't know about that. I came in the tail end of him doing stuff with us, but yeah, it's adorable. Anyway, also Cormine, Cor Cormaine. I can hear it in my head, but my mouth is not saying it. So moving on. Also, that Steve. Oh my stars! Here it is. Miss Kathy Bacon is coming up. I'm so excited. Also, Jimmy, Rob, one of the Robs. Fabulous, fabulous. Also, Kay, we've got Tom, not this Tom, Callie, Lamont. Oh, we've got Ricky from the Foul Monkeys. His birthday's coming up too. It explains so much. And then we have Cheryl. Cheryl, who was my queen when I was starring in Cinderella as the king. Hmm. We got to dance together. It was so sweet.
I thought you were the wicked stepsister.
No, that was the other Cinderella. I've been in two Cinderellas.
Of course.
One was the kids' theater version, so it wasn't as interesting as, our fun one. But it was still sweet.
Was it Rogers and Hammerstein?
Uh, no, it was basically written by the instructor of the program, and that was just very cute. All right, moving on, moving on, moving on. It's time for a feedback. Well, there ain't no feedback. Sorry, womp womp. But we do have some chub hugs to send out. We have chub hugs to is TJ Zombie Girl, who is still recovering from her hip replacement surgery.
Wait, right after retirement?
Oh, maybe one of the reasons she retired.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
like I'm done with this. Anyway, but she is doing really well with that, and I'm very happy to hear that. Also, Miss Nessa. Nessa has just put uh, so much into her school and she's almost done with it and she does so well and I think that she deserves a lot of recognition for that. So big chub hugs out to Nessa. Excuse me. And also a huge chub hug from me out to Phoenix Dave, who has sent a surprise package which is actually due any moment. In fact, it sounds like a truck may be pulling away, so it may be here now. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you, Phoenix Dave. I don't know what it is yet. Maybe we'll know at the end of the show. And I know Tom has some chub hugs he wants to send out.
Well, just, unfortunately, it's become my normal ones, which is the people of Syria and Turkey who are still digging out.
Oh my gosh, it's insane.
Yeah. I mean, we know we're not going to get any more survivors, but um, just I mean, they're so far they're so far remote from the rest of the because they're in the mountains. They're in the. I mean, even though the place looks big,
Mm-hmm.
not easy to get to, I guess. And if when either of the countries they're not capable of this kind of recovery,
Yeah.
and it took a while for places like the U.S. and others who are good at this to get there. So days can be, I mean, once you hit 72 hours, you get to
Yeah.
96 hours and you can start, you're recovering bodies, not recovering, anyone
Right.
living.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Um Ukraine and all the bullshit that's going on there. And then I want to give a chub hug out to all the assholes in the Republican Party who now are rooting for the Russians
Yeah.
because
What the fuck is
um
that now? At least now they're open about it.
yeah, I mean, I remember when, I mean, that was the Republicans would call the Democrats, oh, you're just rubbing up to the Russians because
Yeah.
you like communism. And it's like now it's completely turned around. They love the Russians. Yeah, they love the Russians because the Russians don't give their people freedom of speech. That's why they love the
Hmm.
Russians, because the people are afraid and the politicians can do whatever they fucking please.
Well, that and they love the Russians because they know that the Russians are behind a bunch of their money. Sorry, but that's what it's looking like. Anyway, okay. So I guess we're done with chub hugs. We went from happy to, but it's the way it is. All right. Also, let's see. We did have one celebrity death that I found, which is Barbara Bassom.
Awesome.
Bossum?
Awesome.
Bazoom? Bossum.
Awesome. Barbara Awesome.
And she was from Hill Street Blues. And I put a picture of her up there with a little, rest in power thing. And some people just had no idea who she is. And I'm like, oh my God,
Well,
what's
she, I mean,
the matter with you?
she was a supporting character in a major TV show in 1980. So,
So
and
they should, so the older ones, the old ones that are older than me should know.
well, Boomer, you're right.
Oh, that's so untrue. Gen Xer. Oh, that reminds me. I saw this thing on YouTube, no, on
Oh,
Facebook that
YouTube. I love YouTube. What? Oh,
actually I do too. I watch a lot of YouTube, surprisingly. That I think maybe are TikTok videos that were are the ones that Facebook ends up pulling in, whatever. But it's called like the Gen X View or Gen X Support or something like that. And it's this kid that's like a Gen Z or whatever, and he goes and presents something to his father, and his father gives the Gen X version of it, and damned if I don't usually agree with the dad. I'm just like, yeah, that's pretty much right on. So yeah. Anyway, it was very interesting actually, sociologically. All right. Now that is done, I'm gonna go check for a package while Tom starts talking about his week.
I was gonna poop. Okay. Well, let's see. Good news. Uh, Alaska Daily will be coming back to finish up its season, back on ABC and Hulu. So that's, I believe, starts this week. Thank goodness. On Not Dead Yet, still enjoying the show. It's basically a tiny little newspaper, and our main character does the obituaries for it. And anybody she's writing about, the ghost shows up and talks to them throughout the episode, which helps her fix problems in her life, as well as appreciating what these other people went through. And I'll tell you, looking at moose peas, fish, and chips is making me hungry, and I just ate. So, well, you could, if you saw the picture on YouTube on our live broadcast, you'd see what I'm talking about. Anyway, moving on. Still enjoying Night Court. Wolfpack on Paramount Plus with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Switched to Wolves from Vampires. Um, about halfway through, I think halfway through the season, which is weird. We're just finding out about who these kids are and how they got bit, and why we still don't know if that bad werewolf is coming after the kids or not. So,
Wow.
well, we know he's surrounding the kids. We don't know if he's after them or not. Let's see. The Connors this week. Harris shows up pregnant, and it's just like, oh
Oh,
my
fuck.
God, what is,
Really?
yeah, I mean, well, we were talking about this yesterday. The Connors are just doomed.
Well,
Doomed.
and they're so stupid. Anyway, moving on. I don't watch the show. I shouldn't talk about it, but this is one of the reasons I don't watch the show anymore. Is
Yeah.
because I cannot stand shows that get to a point where nobody ever fucking gets ahead, and if they do, they either sabotage themselves or things fall out from under it. It's the reason I gave up on Married with Children.
Right. Well, the thing with this is, it reminds me of, because I mean, let's face it, Darlene, she had kids out of wedlock. We had Becky had her kid out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm sure that whichever of the kids is oldest, I think Becky's oldest was probably conceived out of wedlock before Roseanne and Dan got married.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all the bad moves, all the bad investments, everything that happens to these people. I remember I knew this girl, and she had just gotten pregnant for the third time, single, pregnant,
Yeah.
third father,
Mm-hmm.
for the third kid. And I said, you do know that men really enjoy blowjobs too. And
Smart.
she was stunned, and she told somebody, goes, he just told me blowjobs. Men prefer blowjobs as well. Well, that's sage advice.
Well, yes, on top of the fact, okay, so I'm not judging anyone for like, three kids, three different fathers, whatever. But
Right.
it's when the fucking fathers don't support the kids
Yeah,
and you keep repeating the same anyway.
right. I know. I know. Anyway, still loving Poker Face on Peacock. It was renewed, so glad about that this last
Oh,
week.
one quick thing before you go on. I'm sorry. Just so that nobody thinks that that was a judgmental, well, you grew up different or educated or whatever type statement. It wasn't. That shit happened in all of my family,
Yeah. Yeah.
most of my friends.
Right.
So it's not a judgment. It is just common sense.
It's an observation
Yeah.
of the people that were around us, as well as the people that they're doing and name me one show where when they had the baby in the fourth, fifth season, where it actually improved the show.
The only one, and you talked about that on Swanner and Judd.
Yeah.
The only one I could think about, and it wasn't an improvement, but it didn't take away from the show, was I Love Lucy, which is the first time that there was a pregnancy on television. That's the only one. Other than that, and I know that you guys mentioned Bewitched. I don't think it took away or helped or whatever. They were fine. They didn't need to do that. They just needed to freshen up the thing.
Well, that then
But
they
other
made
than that, no, I have no I don't
well, and it's funny because even Brian didn't remember the brother to
Adam.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry.
so anyway, let's see. Okay, Tough as Nails finished. That was good over on CBS. Physical 100 was a big snore that last
Oh,
episode. I mean,
yeah.
it was, I'm sure that if it was people like, um, famous sports people that I knew who they were, it might be much more interesting.
Would it?
It would be more interesting.
I guess because my note on that show was even at 1.5 speed, this is the most boring 90-minute finale of any competition show I've ever watched.
Yeah. And then MILF Manor over on Discovery.
Yeah.
They are dating like crazy, but yet no one is having sex. I mean, we had a little making out, but not even much of that. I expected, it to be. I mean, you got 20-year-old boys with 40 and 50-year-old women who want to have sex with 20-year-old boys. Why isn't there more sex? I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Let's see. We'll talk about Bachelor later. RuPaul, they had the crystal ball, not
Yeah.
so everyone had to wear crystals at one point. And it was a good show. It was good because it was basic drag queen shit. It was they're doing gowns, they're doing
Mhm.
themes. They didn't have to sing, dance, act, anything. All they had to do was show up, walk the runway, and have fulfilled the theme of each of the, because there were three different looks that they had to have. They had one was a crystal, one was a retro look to a past a past ball that they have had on the show, and then one was for the race car look that RuPaul has at the beginning of the show. That's the
Mm.
logo of her and with a race car with
Yeah.
So everyone had to do that. So as long as you fulfilled those three, you were doing pretty well. And of course, um, everyone's got their rendition of it. And you got to remember that when they go on the show, they know the theme. They knew that they were going to have to do a drag race thing and
Mm.
go back to one of the balls. And each week, whatever the theme is, they know, unless they're told to make an outfit, they've already got that outfit with them.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize that. They think that it magically appears. I don't get it. And they spend a lot of money before they get in there. So sometimes if the outfits aren't as, let's say, I mean, some of them are just like, how much money did you spent the $100,000 before you even got here on your outfits?
Yeah.
So it was interesting. And then the person who went home was Spice, who was the
Oh,
twin
yeah.
twin of Sugar, who went home week 2. And so, spent some time. She got into the top 10, which is great. And they're going to have a full career. I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll be down in Sacramento at one of the
In a
bars
couple weeks. Yeah.
within the next few weeks. Yeah, as a duo, and that's great. Let's see, The Last of Us. Oh God, it's just like, okay, here's another boring fucking episode. I don't get why everyone's loving this thing. I really don't. I
I
just
I don't either. In fact, my friend Heather was like, "Oh, after we finish, we're in season 2, by the way, of Young Sheldon. When we finish Young Sheldon, let's watch that." And I said, "No." I said, "All my friends who know me have said, do not watch this show."
um I'm watching. Oh, I watched a one time in and out paranormal show on Discovery called Michigan Hell House, which was a lot of fun.
Huh.
And they had Cindy, the psychic Cindy, who was she's been in a couple shows that I've watched, and she's really good. She does automatic writing, and she does the where you lay hands on things to read stuff, as well as just being able to walk into a room and get a sense for stuff. She's really good though, because the investigators come in and they look around first, and then they bring her in, and she basically confirms everything that they were already told without knowing anything about it.
Hmm.
Um, on Kolchak this week, we had a witch. Remember, I was saying, "Where's a witch?"
Yes.
We had a witch, and then we also had a headless biker. Now, this is like an
Oh
old
boy.
50s biker, like the wild ones. Uh,
Okay.
so he's headless, and he's running around with a sword, cutting off the heads of the people that killed him back in the 50s,
Wow.
seeking his revenge. Written by Robert Zemeckis.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's interesting.
so that was fun. I started Big Brother Canada on Paramount, and it's up in Canada. They were halfway through their 8th season when COVID hit,
Hmm.
and they shut it down. They just shut, even though they were already locked up in a room together.
Hmm.
That would have kept those people pretty safe technically.
Yeah.
But they shut down the thing because they couldn't. It was the rest of the crew and the
Hmm.
outside people. So shut that down. And so this was like, I think it was 18 months. It's like a year and a half later, and they're finishing season 8 with season 9. So they have a great big set, and it was much bigger, and it's so different from Big Brother, our Big Brother. So
Hmm.
kind of fun. I've been watching the Paranormal Twins. They're from Reno, Nevada, on YouTube. They've got a channel, and they have hour episodes where they go to different places. They're a lot of fun. They are a bit off-putting because they are covered in tattoos and piercings and colored hair and weird outfits sometimes, but they are so much fun to watch because they went into the Sally house, and Sally house is where some man, uh, uh, this girl, he was a doctor, mother and daughter come, she's sick. He let the daughter die, and and there's all these different things where they're trying to say who the killer is. Well, they went there to talk to them, and it was pretty fucking scary. There are some scary moments, so I had a really good time with them.
Huh?
So giving a call out to them on Mass Singer this week. The Night Owl ended up being Debbie Gibson,
Oh,
and the Rock Lobster was Howie Mandel. So I was just grateful that I knew who the two people were for a change, because the week before I didn't know who the country singer was. That was, that was, I don't know, I
mm.
didn't know who she was. So and she had in her bio it said she had sung with Elvis, so that means she had been alive before 1977.
Oh.
We knew it was an older. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
Good news. Goldbergs will end at the end of their 10th season. Should have ended
Oh,
at the end of their 6th season.
you're
And
still watching.
I'm watching a show right now called The Consultant on Prime, and it's about a um, I guess they're some sort of software manufacturer. I'm not sure. I know it's games, but it's also other stuff. Um, and what happens is their CEO, who is a teenager, he gets he gets murdered, and then Christoph Waltz comes in as the consultant to fix things. Now that he's dead, he's the consultant, but they're finding out that there's something weird. They're checking old footage, and they don't know who this guy. They're questioning if he's even a real consultant. They don't know what's going on. So
Hmm.
only, it runs half-hour episodes. It's really quick, and it's kind of bizarre stuff. So it's been fun.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's see, what do we have that was no, not that one. We want that one. Okay, what do we have that we shared? Mutual shows. Okay, Night Court.
Night Court. I watched episodes 6 and 7. You'd already watched 6 last week,
Yeah.
and this one, let's see, 7 was the one where they had the two figure skaters on there, and then Abby was playing judge in the subway as it was stalled. It was cute. I thought the thing that's getting me is this is almost kind of like How I Met Your Father for me. The lead is boring,
But
but
she's
everybody
from Big
else is interesting.
Bang.
Huh?
She's from Big Bang.
Is she? I never watched that show, so I have no idea.
But that's like part of Young Sheldon. Uh,
Whatever. Uh, I really like Young Sheldon, but I no, I guess I am honestly I've never really watched an entire episode of The Big Bang, so maybe I shouldn't. I'll try not to judge, but once they had Kaylee QK on there, no thank you. Anyway, so I thought it was cute. It was, but I'm liking everybody else, but I'm just not feeling the lead. She's too one note. So anyway, how about you?
um, with I mean, Night Court. It's just, to me, it's I'm warming up to everybody, even
Yeah.
including the judge. I
Okay.
just think it's yeah, it's just one of those things. And it's weird because we're watching it differently than we watched it originally,
Right.
which is, we can, not watch it for a few weeks, and then, binge through 5 episodes.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's just different.
Well, and another thing is the original Night Court was more about like the guest stars almost. It's like you had everything that was going on with the main cast, but there was so many crazy court things that were done so well that that was really interesting too. And on this one, it's like they had one or two, and it was okay, you know. Anyway, The Bachelor season 5, Zach. They take a exotic trip to England,
It's
where
not exactly.
everything. What? Well, I know, right? That's the joke. But everything fall. Oh,
It's a romantic trip to London. and the and
Not very.
the first girl that goes out is the first date. He takes her out and then he takes her shopping.
Takes
Shopping in England, and
yes.
I mean we're
And
talking shoes and dress and hair, and
mm,
she gets a
it was
tiara.
just like
Uh,
Pretty Woman, only
yeah,
she didn't have to put out. Uh,
she comes back and she's got probably 10 gift bags holding, and she comes and lays them on the table and she's like, oh my God, it was just amazing day.
I know. I'm like the first thing I would do, unless I was told that I had to, was not show them all what was in the bags because I just know that that would like
Right. Send
stir up
everybody
every.
over the edge, which it did.
Well, and it would also, but don't forget because one of the things that stirred, what's her name, the little one, I guess, that hasn't had a one-on-one with him yet. Uh, it was that her whole family, her love language is tea. Her whole family bonds around tea. She even has a little teapot that's tattooed right on her wrist because tea is so special. And he took some other girl to tea. And not only did they have tea, but they had a perfume made that was just for the two of them, and they got to be served by the queen's butler. And oh my stars!
They
And
played with the
so, and
corgis.
yes, play the corgi. That's my favorite part. I'm like, yeah, but totally. But they
So
weren't the actual royal corgis. They were from the same bloodline.
she
Um,
goes home and flaunts this in everybody's face. So they're all pissed off, but they go, "Hey, it's all right. We've got ours tomorrow on the group date, and it's going to be fantastic. I can just feel it." So they're all waiting for the group date to start the next day, and Jesse comes in, the host, and says, "I got some bad news. Jake is under the weather. He's got
exactly.
COVID,
Yeah.
and so we're going to send you girls out on the date anyway." And he sends a note that says, sorry, I can't make it, but go out and have fun discovering London. And so they got a double-decker bus, and it's open aired on the top, and it rains on the girls,
And
and
they're all
it's
crying. They're like, I don't
cold.
even know why I'm here. I hate this. Oh, Zach's not here. I'm not validated.
Yeah, yeah,
Until they go to a pub.
yeah, yeah. And then they start
Drunk
getting
off their
drunk and having a
ass.
good time.
Yeah.
And then they're thinking, well, at least we'll have um, the cocktail party tonight after. Maybe he'll be feeling better. And everyone's like going, maybe they weren't, but we all were going, he's got COVID. He's not going to fucking show up for a goddamn
Right.
date. And
Exactly.
so then they end up having a Zoom date with the girls where they're all like, oh, they're having a good time as they hide the tears. And
Uh-huh.
and then they actually, the Zoom date didn't come until after he cancels the third girl to go out on her full day. Then he
Uh-huh.
canceled everything, and then that's right, he had the Zoom right before he did the rose ceremony.
But I did like that the nurse chick who I
Oh
have
yeah,
liked all along went and sat took him a little basket and then sat outside the door talking to him. I thought that was pretty neat. Um, but and
and
then of
then when
course to
she's leaving, the little hand reaches out and drags the basket of gifts inside. That was hilarious.
add, got him. Uh,
My precious.
my the thing, and of course for drama's sake they kept the girl that cried hysterically. And the thing that gets me too about this is okay, well there was a couple notes that I took. One was the two girls that went home. I was like, once again, I'm like, who were they? Were they there the whole time?
Yeah,
Like,
I do.
I don't like every time he says girls home, I'm like, I don't remember them.
They changed their hair. Did they just bring them in for this
Yeah,
episode?
I have no idea who the hell they are. And so, anyway, the notes that I have are: do you really think that 27-year-old Zach and 26-year-old Gabby have any idea who UB40 is? That's who they danced to for the live performance. And I swear, as much as I watch the rose ceremony, what I just said, Charity is way too sophisticated for him. I don't know why she's even there. She is way out of his league. And you know which one's Charity, right? She's the black one of the black girls, but she's the one that they
Yeah, I
focus
do.
on the most, who was supposed to have the
This the
date.
date. Yeah.
Yes. and
Yeah,
she is way out of his league.
I like her.
Yeah, me too. And then the whole meltdown over the tea thing. My family bonds over tea. Like,
Right here.
really, tea? Right. I've got a little tiny teapot on my wrist. It's
Which
my thing.
means
I'm
that
like,
it,
the
and if
producers
he
did that just to fuck with you, girl.
and if he's not remembering it, that might want to tell you that you might want to pack your bags.
Or you might want to get a bigger tea set
No,
tattooed
no,
on
she
your
just needs
wrist.
to go home.
Physical 100 we talked about, and then How I Met Your Father season 2 episode 5, which breakup time, uh, which you knew it was coming. I'm glad it happened somewhat quickly because the other musician was just a yawn. Um, I said this episode was actually fun, but
I didn't
again,
watch it.
oh, you haven't watched it. Okay, well,
No, no, no. I didn't watch it.
you didn't watch it.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm watching it. I'm just saying I didn't watch it. I'm
Oh,
I'm finding it when I have spare time, I'm finding I'd rather watch the news.
I understand, but well, I'm not going to convince you any differently. I'll just say that I enjoyed this one a little bit better than I've enjoyed some of them. But yes, once again, oh, and on this one they pitted Blondie and her best friend, her the best friend's parents pitted them against each other for a guy trying to get psychologically get their daughter to date him. And well, I won't tell you how it worked out because it'll ruin the entire show for you when you actually get around to watching it. The only real standout was one. I'm loving the best friend in there. I just think he's adorable and he's doing a really good job. And then the main male lead, who I still can't remember his name,
Wait, who's
um,
the best friend?
the guy who was in the movie.
Oh, the Pie movie.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
he is so cute. And
And and
then
and there's just not enough shirtless of him, by the way.
oh
No
yeah,
to the
not that
producers.
shirtless of any of them this season, except
Yeah,
the lead got one shirtless shot in this one,
why?
and it was nice.
Yeah, when
But
you got the English guy and you got the Indian guy, and who do we see shirtless? The flabby white guy. No,
actually,
no.
he's not as flabby as you might
Uh,
think, and I don't
he's
care because I like
doughy. You
it.
know
I
he's
like it.
doughy.
This is Chubs Gone Wild. Stop shaming chubbiness because that chubby was yummy. It was
Okay.
yummy chubby.
You eat
Anyway,
what you eat.
I
I'll eat
think
what
all
I
the
eat.
guys on there are cute. I don't connect with Hillary Duff, I guess, because she's just she's trying to be too quirky and she's just not. Anyway, so that's that. Okay, as for me, what I had this week, and then the package did arrive, so we'll open that at the end of my week here.
How big is it?
Uh, it's actually very large,
Oh,
as my package tends to be. All right. Um, I had a little incident where, see, I was in Winco with my friend Heather, and we were going down an aisle because I was trying to get Peeps to put in a package for my sweet Shafina's kids so that they can have some Peeps for Easter because they're overseas right now. And I went down the aisle, I found the Peeps, I put them in the basket, and there was a big
pallet.
pile of soda stuck in halfway out into the aisle so that it was like made the aisle much narrower. And there were people coming the other way. So I went to get out of their way. Well, instead of just backing straight out, I just moved to swing the basket so that I could swing it around and push it out. And as I went to step back, I had no idea that there was an empty pallet on the floor, also sticking out into the aisle. And my heel caught that, and I went down right on top of it. And it was like I had that thought partway down of, okay, this is happening, no stopping it. Here we go in the middle of Winco, and I went down. And of course, um, I had to tell Heather, move the basket so they can get through. And then they started coming through, and the guy asked me, he's like, "Can I help you up?" And I'm looking at him like, "Oh, honey, that's real sweet. With how much I weigh, I would pull you over and break you. Just move along." And I couldn't even do, a funny, like laughing it off or anything because it happened so suddenly that I was like literally just sitting there and dazed. So once they finally shuffled through, um, I did manage to like just get right up though. I was very proud of myself because normally I was like, oh God, how the hell am I gonna manage this shit?
Well, for me, it's amazing how fast I can move when I'm, embarrassed.
Yes, that's what I think. It was mostly like adrenaline
Yeah.
that got me up. But yeah, I was very happy to just get right up. But I still was like shell shocked to the rest of the thing. I like wasn't I couldn't even focus. I couldn't even add up to make sure I wasn't overspending. The whole thing was just crazy. Um, so anyway, so that was a little fun thing that happened. And then let's see, I watched Call Me Kat, episode 15. I think this is the finale for this season. It's the one where Max's father shows up, which once the beginning of this season where Max started talking about, he stopped drinking and he started talking about, his how he realized his father was an alcoholic and his father was never around and he wrote a song that was about wanting to reconnect with his father and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, damn well at some point this season the father's going to show up. Sure enough, he did. And it was a big blowout. It did not end how you expected. You just expected that at the end of it, they would find a way to at least decide that they were going to stay in touch, even if they didn't sit down and actually talk. But no, Max basically said, "You weren't around. I don't need you. I don't want you. Go away. Bye bye." And yeah, I was like, this is not a Call Me Cat episode, but I was actually glad because I was like, wow, that's really good writing. That's
Sounds more like
all
a Kate
right.
Dish episode. No,
All right. So anyway, it was really interesting. Let's see. I watched Amazing Race season 31, which is Big Brother versus Amazing Race versus Survivor teams, and I was really enjoying it. I was really glad there was no Rob and Amber. But sadly, there was a Rachel Riley and her sister.
gross.
Anyway, but actually, she wasn't so bad this time until, every time she stopped being able to win, she'd start talking, and her sister would be like, "Would you shut up?" Um, and I really wanted Tyler and Corey to win, but they did not, sadly. But the guy that actually won, Colin and his wife, who I could not remember who she was. Um, anyway, I thought they were a really good winner too. So anyway, it was a good episode. It was a good season. I enjoyed it. Now I'm starting to watch season 32, but so far I'm kind of a little bored with it. I started rewatching Modern Family. I only made it a couple episodes, but enjoying it. And then I went to see Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania with Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer and Bill Murray and other people. I know, right? Bill Murray showed up and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, well, we all took turns falling asleep at different points. Um, so okay, here's the thing. I don't want to tell anybody it's not good or it's not worth going and seeing in the theater. It's fine. It is a fine movie. It is maybe not like we expect of Marvel, but the last several have not hit the spot really either. Um, my main issues with it was there was way too much fucking exposition. Like, I mean, it was like 10 fucking minutes in the middle of the movie, and that's when I started nodding off. Um, And then you have Michelle Pfeiffer, who goes from being a total fucking kick-ass badass in the first like 15 minutes of the film into being completely useless. They totally, to me, just made her character pointless. And then speaking of another one, Wasp, the woman, the actress that plays Wasp, um, she could have been taken completely out of this movie and it wouldn't have changed hardly a thing. They did nothing for her, and
Is
it
she
was
the
very
sexiest man
sad.
alive? No.
What?
She the sexiest man alive? No.
Just who cares? It's Ant-Man and Wasp in the
Yeah,
title.
but who
As
cares?
a title character, you should get more to do than just be, oh, Ant-Man, you're so wonderful. You are a fucking kick-ass superhero, and she was pointless during this whole thing. She was like the maid that comes in and says, "You're right." Anyway, oh, sorry, that was Mrs. Brady. Anyway, and then of course there was Paul Rudd, and he was beautiful, and Michael Douglas was a little guilty. He was nice, but the whole father-daughter relationship was so cliched. It wasn't even freshened up. So, but the action was really super good, great super effects, and all the side characters were really fun. So go see it. Or not. Wait for
Put it
it to
on.
come to Disney in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it'll be on at Disney Plus. No problem.
Yeah. Anyway, you might want to wait. If you don't want to put the money out, just wait.
Well, Cocaine Bear
More
be the
probably
second
because
week.
you can pause it and go get something while everybody's talking.
Yeah. Here,
Anyway,
can you pause this for a minute?
this really or
Yes.
the movie? Oh, okay. Okay, so it's time for me to open the package. This was sent by Phoenix Dave. He said it's something I mentioned on the show that I really wanted but never had. So I'm hoping that it's Chris Pine, but I don't know.
I thought it might be a home of your own. Maybe there's
Hey,
a lease in there.
if you're gonna try to be funny, at least don't be hurtful.
Why is
So
that why is that hurtful? Like there's a lease in there. There's
I was homeless at one point, and
oh my God, stop dragging that out. You
yeah,
can't keep bringing that up.
yes, I can.
No, that's like me
That's
saying
my life.
I used to be dragged around from place to place because my dad was in the military. I never had friends. I had friends. I could always make friends. It's but it was a pain in the ass.
Listen, I have taught myself to cook, clean, sew, and pat myself on the back when I want to.
Oh
I
well, yeah.
don't need anything from anyone, and anyone who can't give me what I need has no place in my life.
Open up the box.
All right. This is for Phoenix Dave. Phoenix Dave, thank you so much for whatever this is that I'm about to open. Oh my God, it's such a big. Nice stars and garters. It's a wax set. Oh,
You've been wanting that.
a deluxe 10-piece wax set. I've been wanting one of these for months and months. Ow. That is incredible.
Now
That,
have Lawrence show you how to um
yeah.
you do the thing where you do the oil ahead of time. What's it called? You have to do it like for cast
Thing.
iron too, where you season it. You have to season the wok.
Yeah.
So
Wow. This is, see, yeah. Wow. That include I won't be I'll read it a little later, but yeah, I'm just looking at that is a heavy gauge carbon steel wok, heat resistant. Oh, thank you so much. You do not have any idea how much this is going to be used and loved. So thank you so much, Dave.
well, we're coming into the vegetable season too. So
Yes. And now that I'm eating more vegetables, that'll come in even more handy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now I almost don't want to finish the show. I just want to go cook. But let us move on because I know
I saw Yang one time, Ming Yang, is that his name? The remember the guy who used to be on when we were kids? He was the
Yen can
Asian.
cook.
The Asian, yes, 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 yes.
Yes, I loved him.
He showed me how to cook eggs for fried rice. Well, not
Oh,
me personally, but I was watching a show,
really?
and what you do is you put the hot oil in and get it
Mhm.
really hot, and then
Yeah.
you dump the scrambled eggs in there, and then they go really quickly, and then you
Hmm.
take them out, and then you add them in later after your rice is ready, and you put
Oh,
soy in there, and you put vegetables in there, and then you throw the egg in, and you kind of break it up as you're stirring around the rice.
oh, that's interesting.
And now
Okay.
it's funny because I make my scrambled eggs that way now all the time, not in the wok, but I put down some hot, get some hot oil in there. Usually it's like bacon fat, put that
Yeah,
in there. And then when it's nice and hot, drop the egg, and the egg just cooks super quick and it's perfect. So
that's beautiful. I still use butter. I just put a little butter in it, and oh my God, the flavor is so good. But the problem with cooking with butter is that it has a low, no, it has a high, no, it has a low burn.
smoke great.
Yeah. So I mean, if you don't have a on low temp and do it just right, it's black. It's black butter. And yeah, so
Well,
anyway,
brown butter is good.
love brown butter, but I swear I'm not patient enough to do that.
Yeah, you've got to pull that. Now you've got electric, right?
No, or
Yeah,
gas.
okay.
Yeah. So,
A lot
but thank
easier to
you.
work with that.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get on to advice because I know that some people are chomping at the bit, wanting to know what it is. Isn't that right, Sean? Uh, and Dear Prudy, Slate.com, go check them out. This is probably a low stakes question, but it came up while I was talking to my two best friends earlier this week. My father is white, and my mother is Korean and indigenous. My mother and my siblings all look brown and Asian. For whatever reason, I'm the only one who looks completely white. I've noticed some people can tell I'm mixed because I have a very slight difference in my eye and my eye shape from other white people and my pitch black and pin straight hair. But I just look more like my father than my mother and siblings. My two best friends are South Asian and black. At some point, while we were talking, one of my friends referred to me as a woman of color. I was kind of surprised. I've never identified that way. I have light skin, a white sounding last name, and grew up in a very white area. I did experience some racist comments in high school from kids that knew what my mom and siblings looked like. But my life experience has vastly been different from theirs. Do you think it's right for me to identify as a person of color? On one hand, I don't want to erase the identity and culture my mom raised me with. On the other, I simply don't experience the same level of racism my mom and siblings do. Both the erasure of my Korean and indigenous roots and the concept of identifying as a person of color make me uncomfortable. What do you think?
Well, this is easy. If you're mixed race, you better call it out because there's benefits from doing that.
Yeah,
But I mean, besides just you know not
self
you know not hiding who you are, but I mean, as far as I mean, it doesn't matter if you grew up in a white neighborhood. I don't give a shit. The fact is, if you're a mixed race, if you're Korean and indigenous, take advantage of that. When I say take advantage of it, I mean from a business level, but a person of color, no, absolutely. You're a person of color. You still are, whether or not you claim it or not. Don't you
hmm
think? I mean, if you're half, indigenous and Korean, then you're a mixed race. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
you have a mixed heritage,
and
and
believe
it is
me, a
completely
lot of
okay.
us out there would love to have had a little mixed. I hate being as pale as I am. I would love to have had some melanin in my skin.
Melanin. Yeah.
No,
So like because Marina from formerly of the I Love Lard podcast, and you can find her on TikTok Uh, but she talks a little about this too because she's Mexican, but she is very white, quote quote unquote white passing. So
Right.
she hasn't had to deal with a lot of the discrimination that like her father has. So she kind of talks about that a little bit too. But the thing is that that is your heritage. You have every right to claim it, and you have every right to utilize it as best, for your own advantage, or, and fortunately, in some cases, disadvantage that you will get. But also, if it's there is, on some level, the how you feel inside, how you identify, how your own experiences, and you know, there is that part of it too. But it's also kind of your decision what you want to do. But if when it comes
True,
right down to it, somebody
but it's
else is
nothing.
going to tell
I mean,
you, you're
is
not
she
going to check the white box.
right? Is she going to I mean, does she feel like she's robbing people who are more uh obvious people of color? I mean, I
That
don't
yeah, that's
I
not
guess
here, so
that's
she's
where
talking.
she's
I
going
don't
with
know,
this, but I'll
but
tell you from a work advantage, when companies are trying to diversify, you'd much rather be a person of color or a mixed race. I know that sounds kind of terrible, but there's been many a time where, you know, take advantage of that. Like you can get scholarships for shit like that.
well.
I know I'm sounding greedy, but at the
No, I
same
don't think you're
time,
sounding greedy. I think you're sounding
stupid. Am I
no,
stupid?
not stupid. Just thinking from the era that we grew up in, where they
True.
were
That's
really
true.
pushing. Uh, what's the word? I was just thinking of it. What is it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Um, there's a code for it that the Republicans have wanted to destroy for fucking ever.
Sure, sure.
Well,
But
anyway,
yeah,
but
the
that is the
getting
era that we grew up with,
yeah,
and so I understand what you're saying. Whereas a lot of, if there's anyone younger that's listening now, they may not. Uh,
quite
it
grasp that what I'm
just went right
saying.
through my head again,
Yeah.
but they may not understand it. But what is it?
Um,
God, it's bugging me.
not integrated.
Um, Equal opportunity, something.
Yeah, but it's
It's
there's
got a
a
name.
work word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but I understand what you're saying, but I think that they're kind of talking more culturally. Um, but like it also, I don't know. I mean, this doesn't necessarily play into this, but as I've mentioned before, one of my fifth generation grandparents was black and found this out through the genetic stuff. And it's not my experience growing up. I can't claim that I am mixed race or anything like that. Of course, fifth generation is very little, it's trace amounts now. But it made me think, you know what? In my family, we have a probably a slave who was brought here and went through all that. And, how do you honor that in your family, but know that you don't have any right to claim it yourself, but you want to honor that part of your family? I don't know.
Okay. But
So
in
that doesn't necessarily play into this, but it is kind of culturally
well,
like
it almost to me it almost sounds like she doesn't want to claim it because she doesn't want to um claim it.
take away from someone else's experiences
See, I don't
that
think
they
that
haven't
it's
dealt with.
I don't think she since she hasn't experienced what a lot of mixed race people go through, she
Mhm.
doesn't feel she can claim it. But you are what you are, you know.
Right,
And
right.
if
That's true.
and you can call yourself what you. I don't want to make it sound like you are is like a bad thing. It's I mean, she can do whatever she wants. She's fortunate enough to
Right.
we've
I
said
think one of the
pass
things. that she needs to consider is, do you check the white box on application on question marks or questionnaires, or do you click mixed race? And that's how you should think about how you identify.
I bet she's beautiful though.
Well, yeah, probably. But anyway, listeners, we'd be happy to hear what you have to think about all of that.
It's a tough one. It sounded so easy at the beginning, but then
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I
Affirmative
mean,
action.
affirmative action. Oh,
That's what we were talking. We grew up in the affirmative action era, so we're very sensitive to utilize that.
right.
Anyway, moving on. You're confused. Here's what you're pretty had to say. You can
Okay.
think of yourself and describe yourself however you want, and anyone is allowed to disagree with you. What? And anyone is allowed to disagree with what you come up with. There are no firm rules here. Similarly, no one is forcing you to describe yourself in just 1 to 3 words. If you want your official position to be the full sentence, my father is white and my mother is Korean and indigenous, but because of the way I present and the experiences I've had, I think of myself as white, that's okay. That said, in the same way that in a relationship, if you're struggling with whether to break up, it means you probably should. If you're struggling to decide whether you're a person of color, you probably are. One thing that might help make this less weird to you is to remember that experiencing a certain amount of racism isn't a requirement for being a person of color. And having grown up in a white environment isn't disqualifying. Plus, you say you were raised with your mom's culture. I don't think anyone would consider you a fraud if you claim this heritage, if you were to claim this heritage. And in fact, it sounds like people might already be claiming it for you. That's very interesting. And the thing that I think is an interesting line is when she says it you don't have to experience a certain amount of racism
Right.
isn't a requirement for being a person of color. That's a very interesting way to
Well,
look
yeah,
at that
because
too.
it almost sounds like that's something that's kind of bothered her is that
Yeah,
she doesn't want to claim something like there's a badge or something. It's just
right.
if yeah, it's um yeah,
It's a really interesting
and I agree with what you're saying is that um I mean back I remember the day I would love to have been a little mixed race,
one.
get a scholarship or something, get opportunities that,
Well, and the thing that we have that maybe younger generations or something who might think that that sounds very old or
I know.
whatever don't understand is back when we were younger and thinking that those things had to be in place because people of color, it's etc. I'll just say etc. Didn't have the opportunities and weren't
Right.
able to get ahead if those programs were not in place for them, so that white people would get the fuck out of the way. You
Yeah,
could,
because right, exactly. Then that's you. Thank you for pointing that out. That there was a time period where you know, well,
yeah,
it seems like it's happening now, but it was worse.
much worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so hey Chubs, if you had to rename yourself, what name would you choose?
Um, I always liked my dad's middle name Douglas.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't. I never really thought about. I know when I was in radio school, I went with Thomas Bradshaw because that was my mom's maiden name, Bradshaw,
Hmm.
and that sounded more country because I was working at country station at the time.
Oh,
But um, yeah, even when I was in Los Angeles trying to act, I didn't change my name. It was just Thomas Warner.
okay. Yeah,
I'm waiting for it. Come on, but this is your porn
my
star
name would
stage
be
name.
Rex Broodshine. No, that's a Nephi reference. So Brookshire, Rex Brookshire. That's a very old Nephi reference. I actually wanted to change my name a bunch of times, and Nephi will laugh at that question. But I think if I just, if somebody said you absolutely have to change your name, blah, 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 I would probably at this point go with Benjamin McKinney.
What?
Benjamin McKinney.
Okay.
That's one of my family names on my grandfather, my mother's father's side, and then Benjamin is my middle name. So yeah, that's right. It is. Okay. Hey Chubs, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah.
Well, I know this answer.
Yeah.
Yes. Same. Absolutely same. I think it's ridiculous not to believe in them. Okay, let's see. That moves us on to what's in your lunchbox. And this time, what's in your lunchbox? Mr. Moose wrote in, thankfully, and sent us a beautiful photo of fish and chips from the pub down the street from the house. Great slaw. And those are beautifully battered and fried.
And that you can't, in your picture, you can't see it, but there is a lovely tartar sauce there in the back. And
Nice.
when the fries look, yeah, the whole thing, it's just, I'm hungry and I'm not hungry.
I know. I have a question for you though. So yesterday we went to Pete's out by the theater,
Okay.
near Arden,
Right.
and um, I had a lovely burger that was and onion rings, which was very lovely. But one of the things that happened was they had one of us had chicken and waffles, which were basically chicken strips on waffles. Um, and then it had jalapeno in it, which
In
is
the
just,
waffle mix.
yeah, it was
Okay.
just weird to me. But then here's the question. So one of us also had a French dip with potato salad, but the potato salad he didn't like it because it had um,
Raisins.
no,
Oh my
ew.
God.
I mean, I know what you mean, but ew. I don't like that.
Yeah, me.
No, it had pickles, but apparently there's a debate over a sweet pickle and a dill pickle, and people that like it with dill pickles don't like it with sweet pickles, blah blah blah.
Right.
I never heard that or even paid attention to it before.
Well, the pickle thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've heard a lot of people hate sweet pickles.
yeah.
They hate it, yet everywhere you go, it's only ever sweet pickle relish, or it's I
Well,
mean, you get a
yeah.
big deal at a deli, but when you go to you know, Costco and you're getting the relish, it's sweet relish, it's not dill relish. If you go to, you know, a lot of pickle places, it's sweet pickles and gherkins and stuff like that. But I mean, I prefer a dill, but
Well, this person said that they chop up the pickle and put it in the potato salad,
right.
and that there's dill or sweet, and it depends on whether you're like southern or northern or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but like I said, I never paid attention to it
Well,
before.
potato salad's interesting creature because it's very regional.
Hmm.
Because I know people who put avocado in their potato salad
Oh,
now
that's good.
because it's, you know, West Coast. You know, they'll throw
Mm.
avocado and like shrimp into a potato salad. It's like, what?
That's
And
expensive
yeah,
as
yeah.
potato salad. Why don't they throw eggs in there too?
Oh, yeah, they have eggs in there.
Well, so the way that I was taught to
Okay.
make potato salad growing up was potatoes, eggs, mayo, and salt and
Onion.
pepper, and maybe a little mustard. Yes, onions, but then eventually everybody, the as I grew up, people were like, "No onions, please."
Why is
So,
that? I know.
so
Yeah,
it was just basically mayo, potato, eggs, and some seasoning, and that was it. And if you wanted a little tang, you put in a little mustard, and that was it.
yeah, yeah. My mom's was pretty similar to that, but I think she had some celery. and she did have the onion, and I don't know about the pickle relish. I don't remember it, but
Mm.
it could have been there. Could have been. I'm not
See,
sure.
that's another thing. Like with tuna, it was mayo and tuna, and that was it. And then later on, I started putting the sweet relish in it, and I liked it more, but others didn't.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just interesting how we all do that.
Well,
All right.
it's all about taste. But what's weird is when you go into a restaurant and they're totally different than the norm. And I can see that if you're like a Southern restaurant in Sacramento, so you're fried green tomatoes and the
Mm,
stuff that you add in is going to be different than, let's say, something that you would get in Sacramento. Normally in Sacramento, a real Sacramento meal, which would normally be more based in vegetables, like farm to fork stuff.
and probably some fusion.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just potato
Yeah.
salad. I think you start off with from your one spot, which is potatoes, eggs. A lot of people don't use eggs either, by the way.
Yeah.
Potatoes, onions. Usually, I put a little mustard in,
Mm.
just maybe some
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. Sometimes I put a little splash of that, just a splash.
Sure. Yeah.
But otherwise, I kind of like my potato salad kind of plain. Does that if that makes
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. No, in fact, it's funny that you mentioned that with the eggs because I was always raised to put eggs in it.
Right.
But when I get a thing of potato salad at like Winco, I get the one without the eggs, but the one that's with the eggs calls them deviled eggs. And I was just like, it doesn't sound appealing. I'll just take the regular potato slime, thank you.
See, a
So,
lot of times what I'll do is when I have extra deviled eggs,
mm,
I will cut them up and make them into either egg salad or potato salad.
oh, I like that. Now, see, I'll do that with egg salad. Wow, I haven't had egg salad sandwich in a long time. But right now, I'm not wasting any eggs because they're like $8 for a 18 pack, and it's worse in some places. But
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
so it was like when I fell in Winco, everybody's like, "Oh, if you got hurt, maybe you can sue." And I said, "I'd sue for their eggs right now." Anyway, all right. Golden Rule Services want you to know about an important tool preventing you from contracting HIV. PrEP is a medication proven to be 99% effective when preventing HIV infection. To learn more about PrEP, visit sactrs.org. And find Tom's other podcast at swornjudd.com. And I'm very glad to see you guys are back. I think the Lost show, did you guys record the week before?
Yeah, we have not
Okay.
recorded since
So that
Christmas.
week for anyone that was looking for it, that episode on some of the players did not drop right until the new show was posted and then suddenly it's there.
Oh,
So I don't know what that was about, but I missed you guys for a week. Um, and then find my books at justkisstheguy.com. Find all our links at allmylinks.com/Chubs Gone Wild. Don't forget, you can go over to our Facebook group and see the lovely fish that is Moose sent in. And you can send us what's in your lunchbox at chubsgonewild@gmail.com. And you can send us your questions for chubsgonewild@gmail.com. And you can give us a call at
408 Chubs.
and that was a deliberate stutter. Don't just keep pressing the ch over and over.
Unless they want to hear it over and over again.
That's true. And you can also give us a call at
I just did that.
I know do it again
408
and
Chubs.
leave us a message for Miss Bacon's birthday.
At 408 Chubs. Kathy Bacon's birthday.
All right, we will
By the
catch
way,
you.
they don't have to type in Kathy Bacon's birthday at the end because it won't really mean anything. But
Oh,
they can,
that's
when they call, they can say that. They can say,
say it. Say it. All right, we will catch you next week. Bye.
bye.